Monday, October 8th, 2018. Call to order the regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District. Mr. Brooks is recording the members present or absent. We do have a quorum. So the next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. You all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have one addition to our agenda, and that will be in the personnel actions. We have Rachel Johnson that we'll be adding as a playground supervisor. Other than that, I believe the agenda is the same as what it was published, so I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Mr.
Miller, is there a second?
Second.
Oh boy, now I have to decide. We'll give that one to Lori because she's on my right and that hearing works better. All right, so we have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda. All in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the agenda approved. We have consent items 7 through 10, the minutes of our meeting of September 10th, and then our special board meeting of September 25th. Mrs. Sims, Mr. Nelson, and Mrs. Schultz got an education in funding tonight again. We went through the bills. Anything at all that we need to be aware of from the bills? Okay, and then we have our personnel actions. Mr. Jorgensen, you want to take over on those then?
Yeah, we have request to hire 4 playground supervisors: Savannah Miller, Grace Bauer, Logan Peckenbaugh, and then we added tonight Rachel Johnson as well.
And then the final item in 7 through 10 is approval of open enrollment applications 19-9 through 19-11. Any comments on those, Mr. Jorgensen?
It would be a high school student, a middle school student, and an elementary student.
Okay.
Are they related at all, or?
Middle school and elementary.
No?
Ones are.
All right, so those are our consent items. We'll take,
This is where I gotta.
yep, when we vote.
Okay.
When we vote.
I think I know one of the gals on there.
Yeah. We'll get to that. So we probably shouldn't make the motion either.
Okay.
To approve on the consent items. I need a motion for approval of consent items.
I will move.
Okay, Mrs. Sims has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, by Mr. Hanemichael. Further questions or discussions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone who wishes to abstain?
I wish to abstain.
All right, motion carries. Sue, you want to talk to us at all? Okay, well, you're the only one out there, so we thought we'd give you that opportunity.
No, you just keep going.
Okay. You want to get home, right?
Yeah.
All right, we've got Dr. Cook's middle school report that we all had access to. Board development, Steve, can you pull that up?
You bet.
This didn't necessarily make our top 100 list on our planning, but I'm pulling a little bit of presidential prerogative. And maybe you could can you size that down a little?
You bet.
There we go. So this is what ASBSD has. It's off of their website, board training. And there's the Gavel program. And when I think Steve probably would have been the only one that was here when Julie Ertz came in and we did a modified Gavel on here. And that was a Saturday morning, if I remember correctly. And Julie customized and kind of took some things from either the school governance or the fiscal responsibility or the strategic planning portion, and they will customize those however we would feel that if we wanted to do face-to-face. There's advantages in face-to-face in the fact that we all hear the same thing, we have an opportunity for discussion, etc., but it does require commitment of time on our part to do that, and we have to find a time that would work with us as well as a time that Randy Rohr could come out and did it. do it with us. Mitch kind of took us through fiscal responsibility a couple of years ago when we went through all of our accounts and things. And I don't know that we want to look at our planning any more than what we're doing right now. I think that's working well for us. So if we were to pick one of those with the school board governance and maybe throw a couple of other small items into there if we wanted to do the face-to-face. You can go down a little further there if you would, Steve. And then they list the benefits of gavel and things on there. They talk about who should, and you say, it's everybody, basically new school board members, first-term members, board presidents, veteran board members, etc. The other program that they have is School Board U, and that is a program that is basically self-paced distance learning. And we have a graduate, a veteran of one of those amongst us tonight, Mrs. Schultz. Tell us about that one, Lori.
I enrolled in the fiscal responsibility course, and I really enjoy it because not only is it self-paced, but you get all the handouts and everything. So I can go back, like tonight after the meeting, I can go back and say, what was he talking about? But I have found the ones that I've taken and went to some of the meetings to be very, very helpful. So, that's all.
So the long and short of it is, do we want to try to do something? And if we do, is there a preference of what we would do? I'm open to either. I think time may be an advantage of School Board U. We could do them when we wanted. We could pick the areas we wanted also. And the other thing that does is that gets us points for all, because Lori and I received the silver all at the regional meeting. And you'll notice that last year it was a bronze. This year is silver. And after this year, I won't get as many points as I'm getting for us because I won't be president any longer.
Gosh, how many points do we have to make up?
Probably about 150.
Right.
We better get busy, Steve.
Can you wait your reelection?
So if we want to get gold, this is a good year to do it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. How about us getting gold next year?
So Tom, if they came and did a training, what would be the type of commitment we need to make, like?
We could tell them we want something, we want it in 4 hours or less.
Okay.
If that's what we wanted to do, and then we could visit with Randy and say, hey, these are the things, he could give us a smorgasbord of topics, and then we could say, these are the things that we'd like you to focus on. And that was what we did with Julie. We kind of said, well, we want this, and we don't really want that. And so they prepared the packet and came in and did. And like I said, it could be on a Saturday, it could be in the evening, we could do a 5 to 9 or 5:30 to 9 or something such as that. Similar to what we did with our work session also. Doesn't have to be a Saturday by any means. Any thoughts?
Can you do both, or is it either?
Well, you can do, anybody can enroll in the School Board U. You just have to get a hold of Mitch, and then he has to send it in. I think there's one that is free right now. I forget which one it is.
So if we get the person to come, how many questions are we going to be required to come up with to ask? Because we better have participation.
I think Randy will get that out of us without any trouble.
All right.
Randy's a former music professor, so at Black Hills State, so I have the utmost of confidence in him, even answering all of your questions.
Well, I was more worried about getting the email from you. Okay, guys, you need to have 5 questions.
Steve, I would never do that to you.
Intelligent question before I hear the subject,
Yeah.
which is really hard.
So any further thoughts or questions?
I'm in favor of whatever gets us the most points. Gonna get the gold.
Okay. We were close this last year. We were close. Well, why don't we think about it, and then you want me to get a hold of Randy and see what might be some. I think we'd wait and do something like the January, late January, early February timeframe. By then, Steve should be done harvesting and.
Well, I don't know this year.
Jury duty.
You're-
Really?
So, well, I gotta get paid. It kind of tricky sometimes. Does it cost?
There's a cost, but it's an investment I do, not a cost. I think if it makes us better board members and things.
I think the fiscal responsibility was like $100, if I remember correctly, and I definitely thought it was worth it.
Are we leaning towards trying to have Randy come in, or do we want to each kind of pick something out of the school board youth?
So for school board, if we each picked a topic, then that cost is per member, right?
Per person, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know what Randy's charges are for sure. I imagine there's a mileage charge plus a flat fee.
We'll try and get a hold of the ASBSD president.
And he should know, but he doesn't, so. But I could call my executive director.
You know, if we did this school board U, it'd be kind of cool that if we each took a different topic or something, and then we could maybe spend 5 minutes at a board meeting,
Yeah.
just kind of going over the highlights or,
We did the book study, what was that, 3 years ago? That we had the book study that we had done off of something that was there.
oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, just dedicate a few minutes of our board meetings. So what do we want to do? Or leave it on the table for a while?
I would like to see what the cost is for Randy.
Okay, face to face first and, okay.
And then something to think about, if we do get Randy, because of the scope of the whole issue, or like the whole training session,
Yeah.
can't be accomplished in 4 hours, so which direction would you ask him to go before he gets here, so that way he can kind of get a little deeper into it as opposed to just.
I think we would have him send us some more specifics of like the gavel, and then we would pick and choose out of that list of what it is we wanted
Okay.
on there. Would you prefer like a Monday evening rather than a Saturday, or?
I would prefer that.
Okay,
I would think
Okay.
so.
okay. So I'll look at what he might have coming up end of January, first part of February on not the second Monday of a month, but on there, and then see what we can have and get a report back to us for our November meeting, which I, right now, am not planning to be at. I'm planning to be at the birth of my first grandson in Florida. So Mrs. Sims will be taking, I will be calling in though, maybe with pictures.
Okay.
Maybe with pictures, if it happens by then.
Sure had a lot of excuses this year.
I have, haven't I? You want to see one? No? Atlanta airport because I couldn't get out. Well, you know, I'm just slowly weaning my way out of this.
Boy, if that's what retirement looks like, I better stay working.
All right, so I'll get something for us for November. All right, we better keep going here. Mr. Jorgensen, yours probably won't be nearly as long as mine, will it?
I can talk real slow if you want, but I don't think I can stretch it out quite that much, so I'll try. Just a quick congratulations to our girls tennis this last week, finished 12th, and also our boys golf team for finishing 3rd this year at the state golf meet.
Great
So,
finish.
we had the ASBSD regional meeting. We hosted that last Thursday, excuse me, and our Pro Start culinary students did a great job. I heard, I don't know about those over there, but I heard nothing but compliments from the people that were there, and they did a super job. So
That caramel apple pie with ice cream.
I want to thank them for the job they did, and again, Dr. Pogany presented on some possible legislative items and tried to run a few things by the group, and but again, I thought it was nice to have it here, and it was nice that we had our culinary students. You know, some of the people at my table were asking a lot of questions about the culinary and how it worked and so on. A couple project updates. I mentioned sound panels last month. Sound panels are now in for the elementary gym. A couple of them have to be painted, but over the next 2 weeks now, the gym, phase 2 of the elementary gym should be completed. So within 2 weeks, we should have those up. And then right after those are in place, we also have some additional panels that will be going up in the elementary lunchroom as well, trying to deafen the noise there. I mentioned last month that we had a lighting project in the auditorium. We were adding additional lighting for the stage. That was completed just a couple days after our meeting actually, and that's up and running and ready to go. And last thing I just want to comment, our school nurse, Ashley Coombs, started as a school nurse on Wednesday last week, October 3rd, which actually worked out good with the early dismissal, because then had some time in the afternoon for her to try and be in the office area where she's at and start getting some things organized. So I just want to again thank Madison Regional Health System for partnering with us to provide the school nurse position, because it's going to be greatly appreciated. And it's only been a few days, but I've heard nothing but positives come out of it already. So we are up and going with that school nurse contract.
Good. Mr. Brooks, do you have a thing or two?
Can I touch on the health insurance?
Sure.
We just completed our year for health insurance. Do you mind bringing up that link? It's under the financial, it says health insurance. As touch on, just so I would make sure our year, we had a very good year on this. Yeah,
That's just-
you can see kind of there, our revenues for the year were 1.1 million, our expenditures were 861,000. Last year, we spent 1.08 million in expenditures. So you can see our claims were down quite significantly from the prior year, so this was a very healthy year for us. But we gained back about $240,000, which was nice because we've been seeing kind of a going the other way in that fund, and being that we're self-insured, it's nice to see the fund go back. But I just want to kind of touch on it. It really had to do with what our claims were for the year. We're considered a very healthy pool right now. But you have to go back 7 years in order to find a year in which we had less claims than we did this year. So it's not a typical year, it probably won't continue on this way, but it's nice to have those years to rebuild back our fund and help us with our fluctuations in our rates. That's kind of what I want to touch on just for the health insurance fund. We run October 1st to September 30th each year is our plan year.
And just a clarification, our reserve deficit, our reserve goal is that 705,224. And the negative amounts is how much we're below the goal. That isn't how much we're in the hole on our fund, but that's how much we're below where we'd like to see our goal be on there. And I think our company we work with feels that that's a very realistic goal yet for us, so.
What company is that?
We're well marked.
Oh,
And I think they've streamlined our registration and, or enrollment, not registration, enrollment process, and have been very good helping us get our district employees the information they need to make informed decisions. And okay, good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'd like to see in the insurance.
Anything else, board members, or Lori, you want to comment at all on the regional meeting? Or?
Informative as was the last time I attended.
Okay.
It's amazing to me the different issues that come out, and other school districts are having the same issues or successes that we are having, and we're more alike than we are different. And
Yeah.
I think
Size doesn't really seem to matter. We had
right.
Ken Alberty from Sioux Falls at our table.
Yeah, and Lake
and-
Preston.
Yeah, and Lake Preston, and, very similar to what we deal with on a
Right.
daily basis also.
Well, one thing I did find interesting is, though, talking with Kent about their behavior specialists.
Yep.
That they've been running a pilot program for 3 years now, but they have a behavior specialist in 7 different elementary schools. And they're special ed educated, and none of them, he said, I commented, were first-year teachers.
Right.
They'd all had some experience under their belt, but they have found that to be extremely beneficial in their school systems. And so I guess that intrigued me a little bit about that program, and thought maybe it might be good to go down and talk to them a little bit more about what they're doing. And so,
Sometimes the table conversations are as good as the program.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That takes care of number 12. Number 13, second reading for the 2 policies, and Joel, you want to go on that one, or?
Yeah, if you'll go on the first one there, Steve, and go to the second page. A little bit lower, yeah, at the bottom, right there. Last time we'd added nicotine delivery device to the title. As we were reading through it again, it just references the exact same thing, so we added it in there to make sure it was consistent. So that was the only change on that, and then there's a typo at the end as far as the second reading was listed twice, the date, which we'll correct. But the only change then on that one was just add nicotine delivery device farther down in the policy again. And on the JFCH-R, it's more of the process, but there were no changes from last month. And if you remember last month, we just added the nicotine use at the top there. With that new title.
And I raised the question of why the two policies, but the difference is, and I got to go through all of our policies, if there's an R, it's the mechanism by which it gets reported, where the actual policy is the policy without the dash R on it, so. Because I had asked, would it make sense to put them both in one? Well, I think we have to change all of our policies if we did that, so. With that, let's have a motion and a second, and we can have any further discussion.
So
Okay, Mrs. Sims makes the motion. You can make a second if you want it, Sean, now.
I'll make the second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion or questions? I think that's something we definitely needed to get updated and have in place in light of the national news and everything that's there on that. Hearing none, all in favor of passing through the second reading process, policy JFCH and JFCHR. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare it's passed. We have two other items for the ASBSD. First one is a Legislative Action Network representative. I have served as that in the past and would be willing to serve unless someone wants to arm wrestle off to be the Legislative Action Network person. Then by consensus, I will become that person then, but we need a motion.
So moved.
Hey, real quickly, Cammy, get that one done.
I'll second.
All right, now Michael says, get me out of that. So, well, the motion would be that Tom Farrell would be appointed as the Legislative Action Network representative. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Tom. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your
Let's-
service.
All right. That doesn't mean you won't be getting emails from me. We need to get a hold of folks once they're elected. And then the other one is a delegate assembly, and Lori did that last year out in Pier, and that's where the ASBSD gets together and we kind of come up with our marching orders for Wade Fogarty, our executive director, who serves as the lobbyist. There is a document that will get circulated to you that is about 16 pages that talks about standing and future resolutions, and we'll try and have some discussions. I think it's the 16th of November when that delegate assembly is in Pier on an afternoon. And I don't think we'll be done as quick as we were last year, Laurie, but we were out of there, by 3 o'clock last
Yeah, it
year.
was
But
surprisingly
I'm running it this year, so it'll probably take longer.
Oh, boy.
The way that runs on that. So we need to appoint someone so we can get that turned in also. Lori would be willing if somebody wants to nominate her.
So nominated.
All right, Mr. Nelson, is there a second?
I will second.
All right. All in favor of Lori Schultz being our ASBSD Delegate Assembly representative signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. That takes us to executive session.